Thanks for your company. Look forward to seeing you next time on The Chase Australia.
Tonight, behind bars for Christmas, AFL star Sydney Stack distraught and in isolation over a Perth quarantine breach. See the mass exodus as thousands rush to escape a COVID outbreak. Exclusive, the 71-year-old Rockingham grandfather arrested in a bikie gang crime crackdown. A polar bear and Mrs. Claus arrested in a dramatic city protest. Our Margaret River is defying a global pandemic to hold a surfing event for the world. And the AFL reveals a new game plan for 2021. Who's playing who, plus double derby showdowns.
Live from Perth, 7 News with Rick Ardon.
Good evening and welcome to 7 News. Rising AFL star Sydney Stack has been told he'll spend Christmas behind bars in isolation. But there's confusion over prison rules that might extend his COVID isolation. Tonight, his manager is fighting to free him into hotel quarantine, despite video evidence of what police say is a Northbridge punch-up.
Ducking for cover in Northbridge, Sydney Stack can't duck the law, trading punches for a cell in Hakea, where he's tonight in isolation, only allowed out to exercise solo and just one phone call.
Very brief, unfortunately.
What was he thinking?
He's had not a lot of time to talk about how he's feeling. He's upset and he wants to reconnect with people, but he understands the consequences.
But why was he in Northbridge at 1 a.m?
I don't know that.
The suspended Richmond goal sneak was allowed into WA for a funeral. Via Adelaide, his quarantine was due to end Christmas Eve, but a magistrate was today told prison policy means he has to start over. He was arrested Saturday, transferred Sunday, making today day 1, January 3, day 14. Wrong, according to Corrective Services, who later told 7 News the quarantine period should not be altered. But Sydney Stack can't apply for bail to walk out of prison until 3 days after that. Too late to catch the flight he has booked to return to Melbourne and pre-season training.
There's a set of rules you need to abide by. They apply to everyone. And if you don't abide by those rules, then there'll be consequences.
That could include his 1-year contract extension.
The football's a little bit further ahead. We've got to deal with the current matters.
He's one of 135 people who've been charged with breaching self-quarantine. By last night, 208 others had been handed infringements. Only a few compared to almost 6,000 people in quarantine tonight. But doctors say that's enough to present a danger. More than half are isolating at home, 2,300 are in hotels under guard, better than being under a watch house. Tonight, Sydney Stack's manager is appealing for him to be checked into a hotel instead. Jessica Page, 7 News.
Premier Mark McGowan has copped a pile of abuse for shutting the state's border to New South Wales. Mr McGowan says there's a growing group ignorant of what's been achieved here in Western Australia. Here's state political editor Jeff Parry.
Mark McGowan has copped criticism from other Australian leaders from the Conservative side of politics for months now, all because WA does its own thing on border control. The Premier's view is it's WA first and everyone else second when it comes to controlling coronavirus. His decision to go hard over the outbreak in New South Wales has elevated that criticism to new heights.
How dumb is this Mark McGowan? How out of whack and disproportionate are these measures? What a deranged character he is. He obviously thinks you've got to kill everything. So stop everything. That's what he did. He shut the border hard.
That's controversial Sydney shock jock Chris Smith on his radio show this morning.
Selfishness and ignorance are great vote winners, Mark McGowan. It is cruel, it is stupid, and it is selfish.
The News Limited-owned Australian newspaper wrote in an editorial, "The hectoring and lecturing by Premier Mark McGowan is distasteful and disgraceful." It accused him of chasing votes and added his ridiculous narrow approach is not in the economic or social interest of West Australians, New South Wales or the nation. Mr McGowan says people in the east have no idea what WA has achieved.
There's a cheer squad out there for the measures that New South Wales put in place, which is basically have the virus and then track and trace it. I'd prefer just not to have the virus.
He says the criticism goes with the job.
There would be people who would just love to see you fall on your face.
Well, I'm a politician, and that is the nature of these things. There's always people who want you to fail. But we'll just do our best to keep the state safe and strong.
New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian didn't single out any Premier by name.
All I'm saying to colleagues around the country is please think about the heartbreak and please think about the facts.
New South Wales recorded just 15 new infections overnight, defying predictions that numbers would soar. And those cases were all linked back to Sydney's northern beaches, part of the Avalon cluster. Beaches and ferries largely deserted as residents were told to stay home. More than 38,000 COVID tests in 24 hours, smashing all records. And they were back today. But not everyone is doing the right thing as contact tracers try to find the source of infection.
Some of the visitors to various venues still think that it's funny to be putting in there that you're Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse or a false phone number.
Despite lesser than predicted infections, there are fears case numbers could explode after big Christmas Day gatherings.
6 days later, we've got New Year's Eve. So the people who become infected on Christmas Day will be at their peak of infectiousness on New Year's Eve.
Masks are still voluntary, despite calls for it to be mandatory. Jeff Parry, 7 News.
Thousands who fled Sydney amid looming border lockdowns have hit Christmas chaos. There's been confusion at airports and road checkpoints across the country. In South Australia, the government was forced to apologise after an embarrassing error left families devastated.
The desperate dash to beat border deadlines. Christmas travellers making it to South Australia only to join a quarantine queue.
They are totally overwhelmed. They're a little bit swamped. That would be an understatement.
Hundreds of Sydney travellers wrongly told they'd need to quarantine, despite arriving before the new restrictions came into effect.
This is Christmas. This is a time to be together.
The border bungle ruining Christmas for Rosedale. Her family, due to visit from New South Wales, caught up in the chaos.
They filled out all their forms, they did everything correctly, and they turned away.
This is a very unfortunate set of circumstances at a very unfortunate time of the year.
States and territories have slammed their doors shut. Western Australia has a hard border with New South Wales. All New South Wales residents will need a permit to enter Queensland. But if you've been to Greater Sydney, the Central Coast, the Illawarra Shoalhaven or the Blue Mountains in the last 2 weeks, you'll be turned back. Victoria deeming those areas red zones, mandating 14 days quarantine. South Australia's 14-day quarantine is similar but extends to Wollongong. Anyone who drives from the ACT to SA will face a COVID test but won't have to quarantine. With South Australia putting up road checkpoints, there'll be 2 checkpoints on the Gold Coast and another in Gundawindi in Queensland. 19 checkpoints will be in place tonight on the Victoria-New South Wales border.
If you're from Sydney, stay in Sydney.
I have 2 little children, so I don't know if I'll be able to see them.
Overseas travellers who'd quarantined in Sydney for 14 days now won't have to isolate in Victoria for another 2 weeks, as long as they wear a mask. New South Wales is hosting 76% of Australia's overseas arrivals in hotel quarantine, prompting a plea from the Premier.
I just ask colleagues from other states to consider that. It is a very emotional time of the year. We've all had a very difficult year. And please make sure that your response is proportionate to what's happening. All I'm saying to the other states is, play your part. Lift your game.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
The Prime Minister is urging Australians not to get too disheartened by border closures ahead of Christmas. While conceding festivities may not be what we were expecting, Scott Morrison says we can still celebrate virtually and is hopeful restrictions will ease next month.
The Prime Minister praying for a Christmas miracle.
Miracles happen every day in Australia.
Scott Morrison is hopeful that the Sydney COVID cluster will ease over the next few days.
We've been here before. We've been able to overcome this before.
We've done this. We know how to flatten the curve in Australia.
But dreams of borders reopening by Christmas now all but abandoned.
Some of the reunions that might have happened this Christmas for many families won't happen, but they will happen in the new year.
The new Chief Medical Officer suggests another virtual holiday.
We can have virtual Christmases. We've had that all through this year. We're very, very good at that.
While the Northern Beaches cluster meets the national definition of a hotspot, the Prime Minister concedes premiers will likely close their borders every time there's an outbreak.
They are responsible for public health in their states, and so that is understandable.
Scott Morrison has rejected calls to convene an emergency meeting of the National Cabinet, saying at this stage it's not necessary.
I think after a couple more days we'll know a bit more, and if there is a need to do that, well, of course we can do that.
In the meantime, he's urged the country to remain calm but not complacent.
2020 is not done with us yet, that's very clear. We will get through this like we've got through so many other events.
And hope for a happier new year. Jennifer Beshwati, 7 News.
A 71-year-old grandfather accused of having an armoury of weapons says he's not a criminal and doesn't want to die in prison. Police raided his Rockingham home after the assassination of underworld figure Nick Martin. Crime reporter Emily Baker has this exclusive report.
A clean-cut grandfather allegedly found with a cache of guns.
Mr Evans, will you be fighting the charges?
Yes.
Police say that you're associated with the Mongols Bikie Club.
I'm not.
Hours after rebel Nick Martin was publicly executed at the Kwinana Motorplex, the 71-year-old's Shoalwater home was raided. Police say they seized 5 guns, ammunition, 2 silencers and cannabis.
Are you concerned that you will die in prison?
Yes.
Police have promised to maintain the pressure until they break the Bikie code of silence and catch the killer.
Authorities are also focused on Nick Martin's funeral, which will be held here at Pinaroo Cemetery in 2 days. It's said to be the biggest gathering of bikies in more than 2 decades.
Hundreds of people are expected to attend the service, similar to that of slain coffin cheater Mark Chabrier in 1998. A procession of motorbikes are set to leave from Martin's Nangara home and rebel clubhouses. The security operation surrounding the Underworld event is set to be bigger than when world leaders visited Perth for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Police will be on high alert to make sure the public is safe. Emily Baker, 7 News.
Activists dressed as Mrs Claus and a polar bear have been arrested amid commuter chaos in the city. The protest by Extinction Rebellion blocked Hay Street as the group called for action on climate change.
Dragged, cuffed, arrested for making a stand while sitting. Mrs Claus, a polar bear and Santa's little helpers stopped traffic to spread the word on climate change.
I have to arrest you, okay, for continuation of difference, okay, that's all right.
This is more important than being arrested.
With blocks of ice, they blocked busy Hay Street as police lost patience.
These people are doing the right thing to the planet. You're doing the wrong thing.
Okay.
The group Extinction Rebellion is calling for a citizens' assembly to tackle climate change.
If there's anything that's clear to us, it's that the political system doesn't work. You know, I had 8 years in Parliament, and I know that they are not listening when it comes to stopping the destruction that's occurring here in Western Australia.
This is an emergency. I've been sent by the North Pole. My father is himself. Everything's melting. Everything's dying.
Putting Australia on the naughty list, but it was protesters who were in trouble. The protest was short and sharp, disrupting traffic for around 15 minutes before police intervened and reopened Hay Street. Just as it appeared to be all over.
Thanks, guys.
The polar bear made one final attempt to send a message.
Come on, buddy. Come on, polar bear. Come on, bear.
All up, 2 people were arrested, a price they're more than willing to pay. Brittany Hoskins, 7 News.
A shark closed Perth beaches when it came in close today. Surf lifesavers ordered people out of the water at Floriette and City Beach when a 2.5-metre shark was spotted 50 metres offshore.
Please, could you stay out of the water? We currently have a shark closure for the next 20 minutes.
The beaches have since reopened. The Margaret River Pro has announced a return to WA in just 4 months, defying the global pandemic and bringing in surfers from around the world. Extra safety measures will be in place to stop the virus spread and to guard against sharks.
Test matches postponed, tennis taken over east.
But the new year will bring barrels and surfing superstars. The Margaret River Pro is locked in for April and 3 years after that, pandemic permitting.
It's a COVID world, so no one can guarantee anything.
In the past, sharks have also interrupted, attacks nearby stopping the event in 2018. Drones, jet skis and fisheries boats will be deployed to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Our little plot of water down at Margaret River during this event is the safest bit of water on the planet, in my view.
The surfers haven't always felt that way. World champion Gabriel Medina spoke out in 2018, but last year said he felt safe. The location, a favourite for others, whether they're returning home.
Probably the event that means the most to me, and I think all the surfers really love coming there too.
Or visiting from the other side of the world.
I love having Margaret's as part of the world title race. Just Western Australia in general is such an amazing place to travel to, and whether we're going for the tour or not.
There could be surfers coming from as many as 8 different countries. There are 2 other surfing events planned over east before the Margaret River Pro, so competitors will almost certainly do their quarantine outside WA, as long as COVID doesn't cause a wipeout. Rory Campbell, 7 News.
The West Coast Eagles and the Fremantle Dockers will play 2 derbies next year, with the AFL today releasing its fixtures for 2021. As uncertainty over the pandemic rolls into another year, the league is yet to commit to dates and times for the majority of the season.
The AFL is planning a traditional 2021 season, but, like this year, prepared for change.
Focusing on delivering fans a blockbuster schedule of matches to open the season. The first 6 weeks look as exciting as any season I can recall.
Eagles and Dockers fans can start marking their calendars with the first 6 rounds confirmed. After hosting the Suns in round 1, West Coast plays 5 of this year's finalists, including a Friday night round 5 showdown against Collingwood, followed by a trip to Geelong to face this year's beaten grand finalists. The Dockers won't have to wait long to confront former teammate Jesse Hogan. Freo's first home game is against the Giants in round 2, while they'll also host Hawthorn before they play North Melbourne at Optus Stadium, building on their Anzac Day tradition.
Got what we really wanted in that first 6 weeks, which was a Saturday night game for round 6 in our Len Hall game.
The 2 derbies, round 7 and 22.
It's pretty tantalising late in the year, obviously the second last round 22, from memory, to have a home derby. Hopeful that both teams are contending.
The last 2/3 of the year are floating rounds, with only the round, matchups and venues confirmed. A festival of footy, like this season's 20 games in 20 days, and hubs will only be used if necessary.
We know we can put clubs into high performance centres or hubs. We know we can compress the season if we need to.
Mark Reddings, 7 News.
Weather time now with Samantha Jolly, and Christmas just got hotter, Sam.
Rick, as we get closer, the forecast keeps getting warmer. We are now looking at 35 for Christmas Day and 39 in the lead up. Today was warm and sunny. We got to 33 degrees this afternoon. Even hotter in the northeast, 34 for Bullsbrook and Ellenbrook, a cooler 31, and that was right along our coast. We had easterly winds driving up the temperature for most of the day. The sea breeze swept through the city quite late. It was around 4:30 this afternoon. A ridge lies south of the state and a trough is developing near the west coast. Temperatures will keep rising as that trough remains almost stationary right through until Thursday. So very hot for the holidays. I'll have the Christmas forecast in more detail right after Sport with Barra. Rick.
Thanks, Sam. Ahead in 7 News, under attack. See why this innocent Uber driver says he doesn't feel safe in Australia. Now, Britain's dangerous new mutant COVID-19 strain has made it to Australia. Fiji's history-making killer superstorm gets worse.
Coming up in sport at 6:45, more on who got the best fixtures, the Eagles or the Dockers, and what Justin Langer said in his pre-match pep talk to Joe Burns.
Plus, how doctors used a 3D printer to save this little boy's life. That's next.
courtesy from all of us at 7.
Who will you make happy today?
La Vie est Belle, the iconic fragrance. Lancôme.
Discover your signature scent.
Oh, you're just getting mangoes.
Find all your Christmas specials like Country Chef Pavlova 500 gram, $6 each, and frozen cooked tiger prawns $22 per kilo. Now at your local IGA.
The Good Guys Big Deal Days are on now. 21% off this Samsung 75-inch TV. 16% off this hire dishwasher. This fridge only $658. 21% off this tablet plus 1 hour click and collect just in time for Christmas. Only at The Good Guys.
At Telstra, our 7-day price match on a range of phones. Using Telstra Plus points and trading in selected phones can help make gifting more affordable.
We're shaking things up, WA. With Containers for Change, you get 10 cents for every eligible drink container at your local refund point. To find out where to cash in, visit containersforchange.com.au.
So, what do you want for Christmas?
Ben here is a bumbling boyfriend, otherwise known as a tricky one. Get them a Lottery West gift pack this Christmas.
Get your last-minute gifts at Anaconda. Big savings on a huge range of kayaks for the whole family. The Berkeley Fishing Tool Bucket now $34.99, save $95. Head in store or shop online at anacondastores.com. Play more, pay less.
Anaconda! What's the most important thing this Christmas? It's not the hams. It's not the seafood. Or even the cherries. It's family.
Merry Christmas from the Spudchet family to your family.
Put yourself in a place where everything is possible. The BMW X3 S Drive 20i. From $69,900, drive away. Inspiration captured. Search BMW X3.
An Uber driver has been forced to shelter in a fast food restaurant to escape a shocking racial attack. The Pakistan-born 30-year-old was abused after picking up a man and his partner in Adelaide.
Because you're a Muslim. Please don't touch me. Because you're a Muslim.
The horrified victim videoed the incident on his phone before pulling over and escaping to a nearby McDonald's. The driver says he no longer feels welcome in Australia. Britain's mutant strain of COVID-19 has forced Europe to shut its borders to the UK. The new crisis is deepening tonight. Without quarantine systems like Australia's in place, flights have simply been grounded.
At Rome Airport, some of the last travellers allowed to land on the continent from Britain arrive.
I mean, obviously it's not ideal before Christmas, but it's understandable that the government have made the decisions they have.
As countries across Europe try to prevent the UK's mutant strain of COVID-19 spreading.
The new variant is out of control and we need to bring it under control.
In London, that means the city back in lockdown and Europe locking the UK out. More than a dozen countries have banned flights from Britain, some blocking trains and ferries too. And for the first time, the Eurotunnel linking England with France is closed, putting freight and food supplies at risk. Trucks have already been queuing ahead of Brexit. The new mutation, considered 70% more virulent, has been detected in the Netherlands, Denmark, Italy and Australia from returned travellers. Scott Morrison shrugging off calls to cancel flights.
At this stage, there's nothing to suggest that such a significant action would be warranted.
As Britain's third wave takes hold, record infections and warnings. Parts of the country could now be in lockdown for months. In London, Hugh Whitfeld, 7 News.
9 people have been killed in a hospital fire in Turkey. Smoke and flames could be seen as firefighters climbed through a window. This video, taken in the aftermath, shows crews inspecting the charred wreckage and searching for survivors. The blaze was caused by an oxygen ventilator exploding in the hospital's COVID-19 intensive care wing. A powerful cyclone that struck Fiji has left at least 4 people dead and many more missing. While the full extent of the damage is still being assessed tonight, disaster management officials say almost 8,000 people are in evacuation centres across the country. Cyclone Yasa hit with extreme gusts of up to 345 kilometres an hour. Pop superstar Cher is calling for a caged gorilla living alone at a Thailand shopping centre for 30 years to be freed. The singer's charity Free the Wild wants the animal, as well as others at the mall, relocated to a better home. It's the latest animal rights push from Cher, who also rescued an elephant from a life of isolation in Pakistan. Still to come in 7 News, suspect exposed. See how a naked man sparked a wild police chase before arresting himself. Why is he off the hook? Shock and outrage why no one's held responsible for Victoria's failed hotel quarantine program. US hospitals on the brink of collapse as they brace for a second surge. And why a world-famous multi-millionaire singing star has started busking. That's next.
I sincerely hope someone has died.
We believe it may have been murder.
Bring me facts. The evidence is right there in front of you.
This is my favorite part. We're off to catch the culprit.
I imagine you want to know why.
Worth asking a question.
What did you think of the ending?
The ending was marvelous, moving, touching.
Well, I can't think of any other way it could have happened. Can you?
There's one place you can piece together all the great British mysteries. Here's a clue.
Ned's Same Race Multi. Now available on all 3 racing codes. Pump up your odds in any thoroughbred, greyhound or harness race by selecting 2 to 4 runners to finish anywhere inside the top 4. Take it to the Ned's level.
Bring on the moments you can't wrap and the prezzies you can, with thousands of gifts under $30. Big W, every day's a big day.
Toyota Prado. Luxury that goes anywhere. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
At Spotlight, save more at our Christmas sale with 50% off Cool Elite washable weighted blanket kit. Coo 600 thread count sheet set from $24. 50% off all rugs, runners and mats. So create it, decorate it and celebrate it for less. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
When you need money for the unexpected, time can seem against you. Nimble makes finance faster. Get a Nimble small cash loan up to $5,000 within 60 minutes once confirmed. Visit nimble.com.au.
Bring on the big moments that light up their little faces with big brands at prices you'll love, like Lego, Barbie, Sony and Nintendo. Big W, every day's a big day.
Well, it's time for wrinkles. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair. We've got the retinol that gives you results in 1 week. Not just any retinol, accelerated retinol SA. 1 week, it's all it takes. Neutrogena.
Put a cherry on top of summer with plump, juicy Aussie cherries. Go full Christmas for less at Aldi.
They grow up so quickly. We just want them to have their own adventures, to be out in the world and just enjoy being kids. Space Talk Adventurer.
Bring on Christmas. You can shop safely in-store and online with contactless pickup and home delivery. Big W, every day's a big day.
A police officer on trial for dangerous driving after a crash says he was just doing his job. Gregory Glossop was on his way to a fatal accident when he went through a red light, taking out an innocent driver. Cassidy Mosconi reports.
As a former senior sergeant, Gregory Glossop isn't used to being on the wrong side of the law.
I'm embarrassed that I'm even in court. This whole matter
could have been dealt with differently.
The 61-year-old was stood aside after crashing into a security guard's car on Great Eastern Highway bypass in April last year. He and his partner were on the way to a fatal crash in the Perth Hills. Their car flew through the intersection at 90 kilometres an hour, not seeing the Corolla's headlights hidden by the bushes. He hit the brakes around 2 seconds prior to impact and no one was injured. The job in Gidgegannup was a priority too, which means Glossop was allowed to be speeding and even run a red light so long as he slowed down enough to assess the risk of oncoming cars, something the prosecutor says the senior sergeant didn't do. Do you think you were just doing your job?
Absolutely.
Glossop claims he did assess the risk. He told the court he looked both ways and saw what he believed to be the darkness of a clear, open road. The officer sitting in Mr Glossop's passenger seat gave evidence at the trial today. He described the senior sergeant's driving as, like a nana, he's slow, cautious. It'll now be up to a magistrate to decide whether Mr Glossop was driving dangerously or if it was just another day on the job. Cassidy Moscone, 7 News.
Victoria's Premier Daniel Andrews has apologised but refused to resign following a damning final report into hotel quarantine. A retired judge couldn't pinpoint who was to blame for using private security guards, but she found the deadly second wave was caused by a shocking lack of oversight.
801 people died in a $4.8 million inquiry can't say who was responsible for the decision to use security guards in quarantine hotels. Instead, it found no one took charge, and for that,
I am sorry, we are sorry.
the final report said ultimately the evidence did not identify that any one person decided to engage private security. The inquiry could only conclude that former Chief Commissioner Graham Ashton influenced the decision when he expressed a preference that police weren't used. That position was clearly persuasive, there being no particular discussion or dissent. This set in motion the actions. Once the private security idea took hold, no one debated the pros and cons. And as for the Army, there was no actual consideration of whether ADF personnel would have been a better option.
There was not enough oversight of this program. If we could go back and change that, we would.
We see the Premier saying sorry but not showing that he's sorry. We see the Premier making an apology but not being accountable.
For families of COVID victims, it's too late.
What sort of an apology am I supposed to accept? No, I don't accept the apology. The only thing I'll accept is someone being held accountable.
70,000 documents were handed to the inquiry. The report says not one was able to explain the rationale behind using private security. Such a finding is likely to shock the public. Former Judge Jennifer Coate added the decision became an orphan with no person or department claiming responsibility.
This will be an incredibly difficult week. There will be people missing from the Christmas dinner table on Friday, and I am deeply sorry and saddened by that.
All that's going to be on my mind is the one person missing in my life. It's my mum.
Following the inquiry, former Health Minister Jenny Mikakos, top public servant Chris Eccles and Health Secretary Kim Peake all resigned. As for the Premier...
not only will I not resign, because that is just not who I am, I'll be on the ballot in 2022.
Chanel Vella, 7 News.
Americans are being told to expect Christmas to only increase the COVID crisis in US hospitals. The warning comes as transport companies rush a second coronavirus vaccine across the country.
America, hit by the worst of the pandemic storm.
This COVID illness is so terrible, it runs through families.
As it deploys the best of science to beat the virus.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. There are now 2 vaccines that are approved.
Moderna's 2-dose vaccine. Pilots and truckies now ferrying almost 6 million doses to thousands of centres across the US.
Most important loads that I've ever hauled in my life.
Todd Elbel lost his dad last month, one of 317,000 dead from COVID.
And to bring this back, I feel Dad was in the truck with me today.
US authorities say the next priority for vaccination should be teachers, police, childcare and supermarket workers, essential jobs that can't be done remotely. and those over 75. For now, the vaccines are going to aged care residents and hospital workers in the eye of the storm. Healthcare leaders say some of the intensive care crush is a natural follow-on from last month's Thanksgiving celebrations. Now, one report suggests a quarter of all Americans are about to travel again for Christmas.
There will be a continuing surge. Exactly what the numbers may be, I don't know, but unfortunately, they're going to be higher than what they are today, most likely.
In the United States, Tim Lester, 7 News.
A naked man has arrested himself after a bizarre pursuit on the Gold Coast. Stunned tourists videoed as the man, wearing nothing but a motorcycle helmet, was chased by police along tram tracks in Surfers Paradise. After running in front of a police vehicle, the man opened the side door and climbed inside. Police say it's unlikely he'll be charged. Hundreds of Melbourne Christmas shoppers have been treated to a special show from one of Australia's biggest music stars. Tones and I performed a pop-up concert including her big hit Dance Monkey as part of the Lord Mayor's plan to lure people back into the CBD.
Say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. I've never seen anybody do that thing you do before.
The former busker, whose real name is Tony Watson, recently pocketed $12 million for having one of Spotify's most streamed songs in 2020. Still to come in 7 News, the coronavirus claim that's landed a famous designer in court. Crunch time for courier companies scrambling to make Christmas deadlines. Will your parcel make it? How Hollywood superstar Hugh Jackman spent up big to spoil hundreds of Aussie workers. The curious surprise visitor who let himself in and headed straight to the bar.
And coming up shortly in sport, watch out India, Justin Langer's pulling on the gloves, and the day the girls conquered Hawaii's pipeline.
Santa's dropping in early with all your favourite carols and stars. Even Robbie Williams and the Wiggles.
Join us for carols like never before.
It'll be a spectacular night. Woolworths Carols in the Domain, Wednesday 7:30 on 7.
You don't own me. Don't say I can't go with other.
Celebrate the holidays with C. Giorgio Armani.
Discover your signature scent.
I am my store.
Oh, hi, sweetie. Hi, Mum.
Mars. Enough chocolate to deal with anything.
Oh, it's very good.
Here, Dad, we all chipped in.
Thought it was time. Oh, great. How does it clip on?
This year, our 7-day price match on a huge range of phones can help make gifting more affordable.
Get your tickets now to New Year's Eve at Gloucester Park with live entertainment all night from Murphy's Law, food stalls and pop-up bars, and a spectacular fireworks show. New Year's Eve at Gloucester Park.
Hey, psst, Nina, there's more where that came from. I'm filled with hair, soap and dirt you can't reach.
New Easy Off Drain Turbo Gel's powerful formula quickly powers through tough clogs and eliminates odours. New Easy Off Drain Turbo Gel.
Domino's $5 pizzas are incredible value. 7 awesome recipes, all made with fresh dough, vine-ripened tomato sauce, and stretchier, tastier mozzarella. $5 pizzas, no voucher required. At Domino's.
What are you up to? You think I don't know what you're doing? I know. Those spines won't protect you. You're mine. Now where are your eyes? Ha-ha!
Whiskers, feed their curiosity.
How will you see 2021? Get your tickets for the first Saturday Lotto draw of the year, the $30 million Mega Draw on January 2nd.
At Coles, you can lower the cost of your weekly shop with Cadbury Favourites and linked Lindor gift boxes, both half price. Make it easy this Christmas and shop online with contactless click and collect or home delivery. Coles, value the Australian way.
Let life challenge you, not your skin. Olay Power Duo. For plumper and more radiant skin,
from day one. Fear less, face more.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Checking finance now, the ASX 200 closed just 6 points lower today. The travel sector recovered slightly following a sharp fall this morning. Both Flight Centre and Webjet shares lost ground. Gold is trading at $1,895 an ounce. A tonne of iron ore is trading at $153. One Australian dollar is buying just over 75 US cents. Activewear giant Lorna Jane has been ordered to the federal court for claiming its clothing could stop the spread of COVID-19. The company misled customers, saying its antivirus activewear was sprayed with a substance that offered protection against the virus. But the consumer watchdog says there was no scientific proof the substance worked, nor was it ever tested. The ACCC is seeking a court-imposed fine as punishment. There are massive mail delays in the days leading up to Christmas. Despite ordering gifts online weeks ago, many people are worried their Christmas stockings will be empty come Friday. One particular delivery service, Couriers Please, has been criticised for poor customer service as people scramble to find their missing parcels. He's known as the nicest guy in Hollywood, and it seems Hugh Jackman has once again earned that title. The Aussie superstar has reportedly given $1.2 million to RM Williams staff for Christmas, with each worker taking home a $1,300 cash bonus. Jackman is a global boot ambassador for RM Williams and only recently sold his 5% share in the company when it was purchased by WA mining tycoon Andrew Forrest. Now, this isn't a joke. A curious creature dropped into an Adelaide home unannounced and headed straight for the bar. The surprised residents watched as their cute and cuddly guest made itself right at home.
A knock at the back door had the Omani family in shock after discovering this curious young koala they soon named Audrey.
I reckon she wanted to join the party. We had some music playing.
At first, they thought the furry marsupial was just after a drink of water, but she turned her nose up at that, headed straight to the back door, let herself in, and made a beeline for the liquor cabinet.
Going to the bar. Well, our reaction initially was it must have been a pretty smart one. Instead of going for the water, going for our beers and Christmas drinks.
The curious koala made herself at home, checking out the new surroundings, then perched herself up on the couch for some family downtime.
Yeah, then decided to hang around on the couch and watching telly with us. Yeah, it was fantastic.
And we also gave it little pats. It was very cute.
After an hour-long visit, the Omanis decided Audrey had outstayed her welcome and tried to coax her down the stairs and out the front door. It didn't take long for the unexpected visitor to return to her natural habitat, racing up this large tree in the front yard. Do you think she might come back for another visit?
Oh, well, she's more than welcome to, so yeah.
Casey Trelaw, 7 News.
A little boy has been given the gift of life thanks to a 3D printer. The groundbreaking procedure rebuilt his skull like a jigsaw puzzle, saving his life and giving new hope to others born just like him. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But first, Adrian Barrett is back with more sport, and as we've seen, the fixtures are out, Barra.
Yes, Rick, but who got the better deal, the Eagles or the Dockers? That's next. Plus, Justin Langer back on the tools. The Aussies packing a punch ahead of the Boxing Day test as Joe Burns reveals how he beat the batting Blues. And look who's unleashed the Tiger fist pump in his Sunday red. It's Charlie Woods.
Ramsay's serving up some of his finest dishes.
Passive aggressive. I wouldn't feed that to the mannequin. Inappropriate. You're nuts. And stubborn. Don't with me.
Watch your language. All hell's breaking loose. I quit.
Wake up.
On Ramsay Monday, tonight on 7 Flicks.
Who will you make happy today?
La Vie est Belle, the iconic fragrance. Lancôme.
Discover your signature scent.
This Christmas, pick up Coca-Cola 30-pack 375ml varieties, now just $19.15 each. That's half price, helping you share the spirit of Christmas. Woolworths.
Yeah! Get what you need for work with finance from Yes Loans. We work harder to say yes more often.
Life can change in an instant. 1 minute you're here, in the next, if you help me get back, I'll show you what you're missing.
Like breakdancing, pop in and lock in, windmills, settling my disputes with dance.
Disney and Pixar's Soul, streaming on Disney Plus from Christmas night.
Ancestry DNA is now just $89. This Christmas, help your loved ones discover their unique family story. Order Ancestry DNA for just $89 today at ancestry.com.au.
Spread a little joy this Christmas with Ryobi. One battery powers over 100 tools, so you'll find gifts for any size project and any size budget. 1 + U equals a little joy this Christmas. Dual driver kit, $99, available at Bunnings Warehouse.
Create more space and save on outdoor blinds at the Blinds Gallery. Bring your outside in and save up to 50% on zip track blinds and awnings, plus all shutters heavily reduced.
Call 137 127 the Blinds Gallery.
Gian, why do you love LifeSpace Broad Spectrum Probiotic from Chemist Warehouse?
Its 15 multi-strain formulation helps to support a healthy microbiome.
LifeSpace Broad Spectrum Probiotic is only $23.99. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
Come on, mate. Come on, Dad.
Hi.
Hi. It's time for a new car.
I hear ya. So does everyone else, apparently. Well, SR5 now comes with even more power.
Sounds good.
Make any excuse this play clearance. Get the new Hilux 4x4 SR5 with free on-roads. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
The cash cow's making history, racing toward a new world record, 25 million. You could be next to win big on Sunrise.
Tonight's Sport Report brought to you by the new Toyota Hilux. Awaken your unbreakable today.
The West Coast Eagles have been handed a tough start to season 2021, facing 5 top 8 teams in the first 6 rounds. Fremantle has an easier draw. Their first 6 opponents all missed the finals last year. Next year's fixtures are out, but of course everything these days is subject to change. The AFL playing it safe, releasing dates and times for the first 6 rounds only. And after a softish start at home against the Suns, the Eagles have a hellish 5 in a row against the Bulldogs, Port, St Kilda, Collingwood and Geelong. Their home derby then in round 7, while their last qualifying game is a shocker. It's in Brisbane against the Lions. The Dockers are hopeful the disruptions of 2020 could be the making of the club.
They handled it magnificently, and I think in time that will prove to be of real benefit for us, and that's certainly what we're hoping.
And they certainly have a friendlier start to the season, with matches against Melbourne, GWS, Carlton and Hawthorn, and then last year's cellar dwellers Adelaide and North Melbourne. Their derby is late in the season in round 22. A night grand final at the MCG is also a strong possibility.
We haven't quite formed our position yet. It's one of the things that we need to get back on the agenda early in the new year.
The league adding same-day travel and charter flights remain an option in 2021. To cricket now, Justin Langer has put the Aussies through a brutal fitness session as they prepare for the Boxing Day test, but they're chock full of confidence. Opening batsman Joe Burns has found some form, but it's the Aussie bowling attack that he'd like to talk about.
The reward for winning 2 days early, a gruelling fitness session. Mervyn Booney's Mo's had curled just watching this. Justin Langer's making sure Australia will come out swinging again on Boxing Day.
We're the best team in the world, so we're very confident against everyone in every venue. Our bowlers are unbelievable.
Joe Burns left Matthew Wade behind in the shuttle runs, and with his second innings 51 that saw Australia home, earning a loving embrace from Langer and securing his spot.
My job and my goal is to go on and get big match-winning hundreds in those games.
David Warner's groin hasn't affected his dance moves. But is it ready for a test at the MCG?
We haven't heard any final kind of ideas about injuries and whatnot.
Indian paceman Mohammad Shami is gone with a broken arm. Jason Berendorf is back for the Scorchers in the Big Bash. The Big Quick missed the washed-out game against the Stars for the birth of his child.
They arrived safely and trained with us this morning, so he's smiling from ear to ear, and he's ready to go.
Last night, Sixers journeyman Dan Christian launched 5 sixes and 5 fours in a 15-ball 50. The second fastest in Big Bash history.
He's had another big swipe.
Windies captain Jason Holder smacked his first Big Bash delivery into a tree as the Sixers beat Adelaide by 38 runs. Rory Campbell, 7 News.
Melbourne will be the home of the NBL from the 20th of February next year, with all 9 teams playing a month-long festival of basketball. And there'll even be a hub champion crowned with $300,000 up for grabs. The regular season tips off on January 10. Dressed in Tiger's iconic Sunday red, Tiger Woods and his 11-year-old son Charlie again stole the limelight at the PNC Championship today. And the Tiger Cub showed he's inherited more than just Dad's talent, also using Dad's famous fist pump celebration.
Good putt. Well done.
Just the fact that we were able to have this experience together, Charlie and I, and it's memories for a lifetime.
The Woods finished 7th, 5 shots behind Justin Thomas and his dad Mike. And after a bogey-free final round on her 24th birthday, WA golfer Hannah Green finished tied for 2nd at the LPGA season finale. An emotional Green won $276,000, the second largest purse of her career. Tottenham has suffered a serious blow to their title hopes after a 2-0 loss to Leicester City saw them slump to 5th on the Premier League table. And Scott McTominay made history after he scored twice in the first 3 minutes of Manchester United's 6-2 thumping of Leeds United. And former Margaret River Pro winner Tyler Wright has created history, becoming the first woman to win at surfing's spiritual home, Hawaii's Pipeline. And she showed no fear.
Oh, she just lobster dives right there.
Wright defeating Carissa Moore with 30 seconds to go in the final. The historic victory equal to her 2 world titles, she thinks.
I don't feel like it's sunk in quite yet, but I want to say thank you to the women that have come before me.
Meantime, 48-year-old Kelly Slater may have reached the semis, but John Florence finally became a pipe master in his boyhood backyard. Kelly Slater, Rick, he's got to be the greatest of all time, doesn't he?
Up there at 48. He's
48,
the greatest for sure.
Made the semis, amazing. Well done.
Thank you, Barra. A baby boy born with a severe deformity has undergone life-saving surgery to remove bones in his skull and reshape them. Doctors at the Sydney Children's Hospital performed the complicated procedure, made possible due to advanced 3D modelling.
Behind Flex Dan's scar across his skull, a medical feat, complex and extraordinary.
It wasn't really an option, it was a must for his life.
Now recovering from surgery that's pushed a technological frontier, Flex was born with an extreme form of what's called craniosynostosis. All of the bones in his skull were fused together, meaning there was no space for his brain to grow. So complex was the operation, a medical team from the Sydney Children's Hospital did a series of online practice runs using 3D modelling of Flex's skull. Then it was time for the real-life operation.
Pretty emotional and pretty numb to it all, yeah.
During surgery, the fused bones were removed like a jigsaw puzzle and reformed using the 3D guides to rebuild his skull.
Essentially fit back to Flex's body as a helmet type arrangement and held in place with tiny dissolving plates and screws.
That operation has given Flex's brain much more space to grow and develop, and technology meant surgery time was reduced by about 5 hours. Doctors say this little boy is now expected to lead a normal life.
Our great hope is that this one big operation is going to be all that Flex needs for the future.
His family filled with gratitude.
For the rest of our lives, we're forever indebted to them. It's next level.
I just can't believe how brave he is, really, and what he's gone through.
Nina Stevens, 7 News.
Wonderful. Sam Jolly's got your weather next, and very hot for the holidays, Sam.
Rick, it is getting hotter every day. We have a couple of absolute scorchers this week, and Christmas Day is now even warmer. I'll have the new forecast after the break.
Australia's Christmas event is here. But first, find out the secret to Chrissy cooking, done in half the time.
That's the perfect way to celebrate.
Join us for the Countdown to Carols. Wednesday at 7. Then, a star-studded night at Woolworths Carols in the Domain. Wednesday 7:30 on 7.
This is the Dyson Corral Straightener with manganese copper alloy plates. Invented to flex, shape, and gather for enhanced styling with less damage and even without a cord. Dyson Corral.
Do you feel the call? Black Opium, the Eau de Parfum, Yves Saint Laurent.
Discover your signature scent.
Christmas is a time for giving, and the best golfing gifts are on sale at Golfbox. Clubs, balls, bags, shoes and clothing, gift cards too. Everything for the golfer in your life. Shop at a Golfbox superstore this Christmas and save. Golfbox, we outfit everyone.
Celebrate summer with our White Hot Christmas sale. Take a seat on the world's most comfortable sofa and explore our huge range of sizzling specials. Dags Furniture, the comfort of home.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of easy entertaining with Mix and Save selected Coles brand gourmet cheeses, 3 for $12, and Steggles frozen chicken breast goujons, down to just $11. Coles, value the Australian way.
Welcome to Business Space, home base for business. Hi, I'm Peter McLennan. Everything a business needs, everything a business needs to know. Office furniture fit-outs, cafe and restaurant furniture, shop fittings and fit-outs, shelving, racking, storage, business machines and business advisory services.
This is me, Eleanor. All I've ever wanted is to be a fairy godmother.
Mackenzie Walsh? That is me.
I'm your fairy godmother.
Security.
First things first, you need a makeover. Nice dress. Is it new?
I'm not sure I'm ready for another fairy tale. Fairy is here to help with the housework.
Disney's Godmothered, now streaming on Disney+. It's almost Christmas and Repco's got you covered. Get this 5-piece Bowden's Own gift pack for $66. Or this 55-litre Evercool fridge freezer, $3.79. Repco. It starts with the parts.
On one hand, using mobile data and internet reduces Australia's carbon footprint by reducing travel and making business more efficient. But their use also creates CO2, and your carbon thumbprint may be something you have never even considered. Well, there is a solution. Belong. Carbon neutral, mobile and internet.
Border's biggest bust.
You break the law.
It's all going down.
Do you have any criminal convictions?
Aussie Border Security. Next up on 7.
This weather report is brought to you by Belong, carbon neutral mobile and internet.
Hello again. Today was warm and sunny. We got to 33 degrees this afternoon as easterly winds drove up the temperature. The sea breeze didn't reach the city until 4:30, and it was even hotter in our northeast, 34 for Bullsbrook and for Ellenbrook, and a cooler 31 degrees, and that was right along our coast. Right now it is still 27 degrees and the winds are south-southwest. And take a look at Carnarvon today, a scorching 46 degrees. It was 40 in Geraldton and 30 for Bunbury and for Busselton. Now, a ridge lies south of the state with a trough developing near the west coast. Temperatures will keep rising as that trough remains near stationary right through until Thursday. And there have been huge falls across the Kimberley thanks to a tropical low. Conditions will ease later in the week. Interstate heavy falls in Melbourne. Tomorrow showers for Canberra, for Sydney, Brisbane and 23 for Adelaide. Lots of sunshine for WA tomorrow. 41 in Marble Bar, 31 for Kalgoorlie and a top of 30 for Margaret River. over. On local waters, easterly winds again tomorrow, turning southerly in the middle of the day with an afternoon sea breeze. So hot again tomorrow, up to 38 in Ellenbrook, 37 in Gosnells and Armidale, 33 for Fremantle and for Rockingham, and 36 and sunny for the city tomorrow. And we'll get down to 18 tonight. Then a couple of scorchers. Wednesday and Christmas Eve, 39 degrees, and the nights will be warm with lows of 22. And Christmas Day is now looking even hotter, 35 the top, mostly sunny and 33 for our Boxing Day. It's looking the same for Sunday and a sunny 34 next Monday. And now for tonight's winning lotto numbers. They are 43, 34, 16, 25, 30, 42, and the supplementaries are 44 and 20. Those numbers again, 43, 34, 16, 25, 30, 42, and the sups are 44 and 20. Rick.
Thanks, Sam. There are just 4 sleeps to go until Christmas is here, and there's still time to vote on your favourite festive Perth property. We've been bringing you Christmas lights since December the 1st. Our Alinta Energy Lighting Up Christmas finalists have now been selected. Go to 7news.com.au/Christmas lights and vote for your favourite. The winning addresses will receive $1,000 cash for gas bills or a $500 FPOS card. Voting ends on December the 23rd. The winner will be announced on Christmas Eve. That's 7 News for this Monday. We'll be back with updates throughout the evening. For the latest stories, head to 7news.com.au and follow us on Facebook. Enjoy the rest of your night here on 7.